Good morning and welcome children. In today's episode of the English classroom for class 12, we are doing the small composition and writing part, okay, and we are doing invitation and replies. In part 1, we have seen that how to write the formal invitations. So today we'll discuss the English replies. Before that, I would like to tell you that the small part of the invitation was left, so I have taken up 2 lessons today. I will finish this one, replies, and then after we'll go to the new lesson on the face of it. Okay. Now, the replies we'll see today. We already have done the formal letter, how to write, how the formal letter looks like. I would like to show you, this one, that formally when you are inviting, this is the shape of the letter that looks like, or the indentation you must have to maintain like this. Now, I will like to go to the reply, that how formally we must have to reply, because question comes both way, invitation, write invitation, and sometimes write replies. Now these are the important ingredients or important areas while writing the replies. Reply to a formal invitation is also formal. Thanks are expressed in third person and acceptance or regret is mentioned. The style and format is the same as the invitation card. If possible, reason for not being able to accept, if you are not accepting, of course, the invitation should be mentioned. The tone should be polite and convincing. The reason for declining the invitation should be genuine and should not appear as an excuse, but it must be brief. An informal reply otherwise can be personal and warm. It can be a little longer than the formal reply. Okay, now we'll see how this letter looks like and how to write this one. For example, formal replies, this acceptance. If you are accepting one invitation, how to write? The question goes like, draft a formal reply accepting an invitation to be presented on the occasion of the marriage of Rohit, son of Mrs. and Mr. Ranjit on 6 September 2020. You are Pradeep Kumar. So how to write? Answer. Mrs. and Mr. Pradeep Kumar thank Mrs. and Mr. Ranjit for inviting them on the occasion of the marriage of their son Rohit on 6 September 2020 and inform them that they will be glad to attend the ceremony and bless the newly wed couple. So this is the way how to reply. See, the language is very much formal and the third person is used. Nowhere it is used that I thank you. No, it is Mrs. and Mr. Pradeep Kumar thank Mrs. and Mr. Ranjit. Okay, now we'll see if you are not accepting, okay, you feel regretted for not being able to accept. Rather, we'll see one more question we'll discuss. You are Rahul Sharma. Draft a formal reply declining the invitation to dinner on 1st September 2020 at the Army Parade Ground being hosted by Major J.P. Datta. So this is an invitation and how you are expressing your formal regret. Now Rahul Sharma wishes to thank Major J.P. Datta for inviting him to dinner on 1st October at the Army Parade Grounds. He regrets that he will not be able to attend as he has a prior engagement. So this is a formal reply, expressing your regret for not being able to accept. So this much is therefore reply part. Now, as these two questions we already discussed in our previous class, okay, that the principal is inviting you. I request you, both two questions I had given, this invitation card and this one, okay, two invitation cards. So your work will be to write an acceptance or regret, right, of your choice. You'll write accepting a letter, accepting this one, or regretting for not being able to attend, and for this one also. Got it? Okay, thank you. So I am stopping this one now. I will go to my next class now. Okay, thank you. we'll start the next chapter that I already have said. It's a very small part, so that's why I would like to start with a new chapter. What was that? What is that? On the face of it. Okay, children, as I said that we are starting one more lesson today on the face of it, part 1. It is a drama, in fact, and 3 parts are there. So today we'll do part 1. The author is Susan Hill. Now, first we'll we'll see about the author. Susan Hill is an English author of fiction and non-fiction works. Her novels include The Women in Black, The Mist in the Mirror, and I Am the King of the Castle, for which she received the Somerset Maugham Award in 1971. Yeah. Now we'll proceed further on the face of it, the introduction. This is a play. This is play about an old man, Mr. Lamb, and small boy named Derry. Derry suffers from a complex. He gets one side of his face burnt. He always remains sad and alone. He does not like to go near people because they don't like him and say him ugly comments. Mr. Lamb himself has a tin leg. He has a very positive attitude towards life and people. He shows the right way to young Derry and judging men and life, and he also encourages him to lead a normal life, leaving behind his past. Before going into the text, I would like to tell you that this play is all about kind of complexity and inferiority complexity. This is very common to human being actually. Due to that physical deformity, Mr. Lamb had, he was a cripple. He didn't have one leg actually. And Derry was a 14-year-old boy, young boy. His face was half burnt by acid. Okay. He had developed a kind of, now we'll see that both the characters, though there is a big difference in their age group, but still they came closer due to their commonness in their physique. What was that? Physical deformity. And you will see that both of them had different attitude towards life. Mr. Lamb was very positive. On the other hand, Derry was very, very negative about life. Okay, he lost his faith in his life. He had an withdrawal tendency. He had developed a kind of inferiority complexity. He never want to show his face to the people. He never want to be a part of any human gathering, big gathering, because he always used to think about himself, that as if people are looking at him and they are criticizing him due to his ugly look. People are getting afraid of him. Even he went to that extent by saying that his mother also didn't like him, and his mother is the only person who kisses him with love and affection. Okay, and she does that because she has to, because she was the mother. This was the belief of Derry. And now when he met Mr. Lamb also didn't have one leg. He had 10 leg. Okay, but still he leads that very positively. He mixed up with the people. He never used to think that he was crippled. Now we'll see that when Derry met Mr. Lamb, they had a long conversation, and that is the part of this drama. And we'll see that how at the end of the drama, this play, Derry was a completely changed boy. He had developed that positive attitude towards life. He was so much so influenced by Mr. Lamb that he used to say that Mr. Lamb used to speak peculiar thing. Mr. Lamb was a man who talks something which never has been told to him by anyone. Okay, now we'll proceed further. We'll see. Let's watch an animation now. Okay, we'll see this animation and try to understand, take an overall idea of the story, and then after we'll go to the text. Okay, let's see. Well, Jerry could only be completely blamed for his pessimistic and aggressive attitude towards the world around him. Only a mother, see the girls, how the people used to look at him. Only a mother could love a face like this. Okay, on the other, another girl say he looks like a monster. Now here we are getting a new character, Mr. Lamb. Okay, Mr. Lamb was an old man with a tin leg. He lived in a big house and he had a lot of books. He overcame his loneliness by reading books and talking to people who came to his garden. Now we'll see that after meeting with him what change comes. We'll see Derry liked secluded places. So one day he scaled the boundary wall of Mr. Lamb's garden and jumped into it. Right? Yeah. Now you'll see in the previous slide, if you have seen that, he said that you are looking at me and definitely you are afraid, isn't it? Who said that? The young boy Derry. But in reply he said what? That I make no difference. Derry say it's all okay. Now he said that it makes no difference between flowering plant and a weed. Now he showed that his positive, how positive attitude make things different. The way we look at the world will appear to him. He said that he had given an example. See there, what can you see? Derry said the weeds only. He said that you see weed, but I see in a different way. Why? It makes no difference between a flowering plant and a weed. Both are living and growing plant. I find no difference between who has a burnt face or another boy with a handsome face. Okay? He said it's all rubbish overgrown with weeds. He said, he asked that what can you see that. Now see, he started motivating him, who Mr. Lamb, by giving an example of a princess who loved a beast. When she kissed him, she turned into a handsome prince. Now you want to convince him that it is not the look, rather, what you are from within that matters. Ugliness is only skin deep. A man is not what he looks like, but what he really is. I overheard a woman talking about my ugly face. They said that nobody except my mother could kiss me. Okay? Keep your ears in this way. Now he has given an example. That look at there. I have hives of bees. Okay? Some say bees buzz. They consider it a jarring noise. But bees hum is like music to me. What he wants to mean that the world around you, okay, will appear to you the way you look at them, not the way you think how the people are looking at you. So that is important. Yeah. Now you see, he said what? Keeping aloof cannot help anybody. Okay. And he said that I don't like people staring at my face, so I don't go near them and avoid them. Yeah. Now he has given an example that there was a man who was always afraid that he might be run over or he might get infection or meet some accident. Okay. Now Derry said, then what happened then? He said that he was always afraid of being killed. So he locked himself in a room. A picture fell off on the wall, from the wall on his head, and he was killed. Alright? He died. Now, what is the moral of the story? His parents and my parents are worried about my future. They think nobody would take my care and I would starve and die. You have the brain and limb and can achieve whatever you like. In this way, he tried to motivate him. He said that you can help me in collecting crab apples if you want to. Now, Derry, I want to help. You could fall off. Yeah. All those who promise to come back but never come. I must go home. Mother would be worried, but I promise to come back. I want to back to Mr. Lamb. He is a wonderful person. He taught me that looks are not important. Now Mr. Lamb on ladder picking apple with the help of a stick. Suddenly the ladder falls down and Mr. Lamb is killed. So this is the end of this one. Okay. Now, okay children, so as you have seen the video or the animation, you might have understood a little bit that how the boy was being motivated by Mr. Lamb. Now this play has been divided into major 8 divisions are there. 8 part will discuss these major areas of discussion. Derry enters Lamb's garden. Now Derry is burnt face. Lamb has a thin leg. Derry suffers from a complex. Derry indulges in self-pity. Mr. Lamb shows the way. Reaction of Derry's mother. Derry comes back, but Mr. Lamb dies. Okay. But today we'll discuss only the first point. Derry enters Lamb's garden. Yeah. So Derry enters Lamb's garden. This one we will discuss now. Derry walks slowly and cautiously through the long grass and enters Lamb's garden. Mr. Lamb speaks to him when he is close at hand. Now Derry is startled and feels apologetic. He didn't know if there was anybody there. Mr. Lamb tries to make Derry comfortable. He can pick up crab apples and need not go away on Mr. Lamb's account. He does not mind who comes in the garden. The gate is always open. Okay, it's been repeated. Now Derry didn't need to climb over the wall of the garden. Derry says that he didn't come there for stealing, but Mr. Lamb assures him that he can stay there. Now we'll see that text. Okay, now we'll go to that text and try to understand the textual part, because understanding and reading the text is very important. Scene 1 starts. Mr. Lamb's garden. There is the occasional sound of a bird song and tree leaves rustling. Derry's footsteps are heard as he walks slowly. Okay, this is the first scene, description of first scene. Some word meanings are also there. Occasional, sometime. Rustling means whisper, low sound. Tentatively means hesitatingly, and startle means feeling a sudden shock. Now the location is Mr. Lamb's garden. This is the explanation of the textual part. One can occasionally hear the birds singing and the low sounds of the tree leaves. Derry, a young boy, enters the garden hesitantly. When he comes out of the bushes, he is surprised to hear Mr. Lamb talking to him. Now what happened actually? He always wanted to lead a life in isolation. So suddenly he found that garden of Mr. Lamb, that rarely people used to move to that ground. So what he did, he didn't even enter through the main gate. He prefers to jump over the wall and came inside this garden, thinking that nobody is there, he can spend some time there. Now this is very interesting character of his part, that due to his a kind of inferiority complexity, he wanted to lead a life away from the human gathering, and suddenly he was startled to see that Mr. Lamb was there. Now the text. Yeah. So Mr. Lamb, mind the apple, Davy. What? Who is there? Who's there? Who's that? Who's there, Mr. Lamb? Lamb is my name. Mind apples, crab apples, those are. Windfall in the long grass, you could trip. Now, there he said, he was actually startled, surprised actually. I thought this was an empty place. I didn't know there was anybody here. Mr. Lamb, that's all right. I'm here. What are you afraid of, boy? That's all right. I thought it was empty, an empty house. So this is important actually. See how he wanted to spend a kind of, he wanted to stay in an empty place. Empty place means isolated place, Mr. Lamb. So it is. Since I'm out here in the garden, it's empty until I go back inside. It's in the meantime, I'm out here and likely to stop a day like this beautiful day, not a day to be indoors. Daily panic. I have to go. Okay, so that I have got to go. Word meaning: crab apple, small sharp apple, and the windfall unexpected. Gain jackpot like this. Explanation is also there that we already have explained there. Okay, Mr. Lamb warns him about the crab apple and usually fell in the long grass of the tree in this way. Okay, now we'll proceed further to the next part of the text. We'll get here. Now Mr. Lamb, they're continuing conversing. Not on my account. I don't mind who comes into the garden. The gate is always open. Only you climb the garden. You say that I always keep my garden gate open. So why you need to climb on the wall? Now Davy angry now. Davy understood that it means this man was watching him. You were watching me. Mr. Lamb, I saw you, but the gate is open. All welcome. You are welcome. I sit here. I like sitting. Davy, I had not come to steal anything. You want to be sure, okay? Mr. Lamb, no, the young lad still cramps the apple. You are not so young, Daddy. I just wanted to come into the garden, Mr. Lamb. So you did. Here we are then. Now, Daddy, you don't know who I am. Mr. Lamb said, a boy, 13 or so. Daddy corrected him by saying 14. Pause. But I have got to go now. Goodbye. Mr. Lamb, nothing to be afraid. Just a garden, just me, Daddy. But I'm not afraid. Pause. People are afraid of me. This is important to understand, Mr. Lamb. Why should that be? Daddy said what? I'm not afraid. Rather, people get afraid of me. What he wants to refer. See how internally he was being embittered with the people actually, and that's why he used to say what, that I don't afraid, but people afraid of me looking at my burnt face. Yeah. Now, Daddy, everyone is here. It doesn't matter who they are and what they say or how they look. Okay, how they pretend. I know I can see, Mr. Lamb. See what? Daddy, what do you think, Mr. Lamb? What do they think then? Daddy, you think he's a boy. You look at me and then you see my face and you think that's bad, that's a terrible thing, that's the ugliest thing I ever saw. You think poor boy, but I'm not poor. Underneath, you are afraid. Anybody would be. I am when I look in the mirror and see it. I am afraid of me. Now see that how Mr. Daddy, how he was being, that complexity, how deeper that complexity was there within him. Mr. Lamb was saying nothing about his face. He didn't say about any apprehension, but he was tapping on that particular point, saying what, that what you are thinking. You are thinking then here is a boy and he is bad. He is terrible. He has a terrible face. This poor boy. I'm not poor. Now he is saying everything by himself actually, and Mr. Lamb said nothing. Okay, so this is what is that complexity of rather infinity complexity. A few word meaning given here. Scrum, steal from the garden. Now pretend to behave as if something is true when you know that it is not. Underneath means directly below. Now explanation is given of this paragraph that we already have discussed. Mr. Lamb tried and to stop him, and said that there was no need to leave the garden just because of him. He said, he also said that he kept the gate open for people. It was only Derry who jumped the wall. Derry got angry and being pointed at like that. He also clarified that he hadn't come to steal anything from there. Mr. Lamb agreed by saying that at many times apples had been stolen by young boy, and that Daddy was not so young, but still Daddy wanted to leave. Mr. Lamb uh, told him not to be afraid of him. Means the description is given already, whatever we have discussed, but the most important part is that Daddy said that people got scared on seeing his face. Some considered it bad or ugly, while some even got pity on him by saying that he was a poor boy. He added that that was fake. Actually, they all were afraid of his face. He even got scared of his own face when he looked into the mirror. He added that Mr. Lamb will also pity him, but in his heart, he will also be scared of Derry. So this was his, he spoke out the thing what he was thinking about. So we'll see now in our next part 2 and part 3. We'll see that how that regeneration starts now within that little boy, young boy rather, talking after being conversing with Mr. Lamb. Few questions I had given. Try to solve these questions, okay, and send to me. Thank you very much. Thank you.